Before we get started for today's topic, episode number 61, a very interesting perspective that hit me. And it all begins with that one question for you. Do you have challenges in talking to your team? Whether you're a leader, you're a mid career manager, you have teams to take care of. We know it. And if you're facing challenges, today we are going to be discussing very, very interesting frameworks, five to be very precise. And you have to stay till the end because the last one is a never before given secret that I've kind of discovered after the 7 years of corporate and reading close to 17 to 18 books on leadership, implementing the same as well. So to even begin the whole frameworks, you got to understand that communication is the very glue that sticks everything together, whether it's the company, the customers, the products, the services, the different departments, their leaders, the juniors, the people who join, every single one. It's communication that holds the key. Now, if you are good in communication, and that entire communication broken down into three aspects. First, the intrapersonal communication, things that is going on inside your head, the way you're communicating about whatever that's happening inside your head. Second, framing whatever it is that you're going to communicate to someone else, with someone else. So let's just say you're having a discussion with a fellow team leader, or maybe a fellow C-suite, or maybe your founder. For you to sit down there and to be able to organize your thoughts and whatever's going on and communicate that is another form of communication. And third, the most important one is interpersonal. So when you're talking to anyone, how are you able to really ensure that whatever you are saying, the other person is able to understand? Whatever the other person is saying, you are able to understand. And then whatever discussions that you are having, both are able to understand, both are able to come to a common ground. And through that communication, we are able to get the results. Over the last couple of years, what I have faced is every single company that I have left is only and only because of this one unanimous, uh, in-depth root cause, which is either a miscommunication or a communication gap. And in today's episode, we are going to break down all of it with specific frameworks that always works. Always works when I say there are certain coaches and mentors I have been in touch with at a personal level as well, got a chance to work with them. And it's crazy and insane that they have teams with them, team members who've been with them for the last 3 years and 5 years. And these are Gen Z folks. It's so crazy that as a Gen Z, they are not leaving the company. They're still there. They're still sticking out. So when I observed both these patterns of my personal experience with the companies that I worked for, as well as these full-fledged founders and creators who are able to have team members that are with them, these are the frameworks that came in. So we'll go one by one. And I just made a couple of bullet points in front of me so that it becomes easy for me to kind of frame and then give you every single thing that's needed. The first one is taking things not from your perspective. And the word that I'm going to use here, it's called as altruism. Think about it. Let's just say when you were working and you just started working as an employee, your first job, your first couple of months in the job, did you have everything figured out? You wanted help. So you have to understand that whenever a meeting is going on, whenever an interaction is going on, every time there is a challenge, there's a big possibility that the person who is responsible for that challenge doesn't really needs a reminder that he messed up. Rather, he needs help. So every single point of communication from you as a leader needs to have the element of altruism, which means you need to put yourself in the other person's shoe and understand things from their perspective. All the more why we have this very unique activity in our speak to lead cohort. I did share with you in one of our, in our evaluation session, the 3D formula of evaluation. This really sets the tone in which you're able to allow yourself the permission to sit in the other person's shoe, and in that way you're able to understand where that person is coming from. So I'll give you one very simple example. Let's just say there is one technical doubt. As a you're an IT company and you're the manager, you're the support manager. And a part of your support team, the support team's task is just to talk to and interact with the people who have raised support tickets, talk to them over text, call, whatever, solve the problem. And once the problem is solved, close the ticket. But something happened and the thing got escalated. Now, as it got escalated, obviously the manager had to step in and get the entire thing solved. Now, the dangerous thing about it is you have two options. You can either scrutinize and scold the support executive, or you can sit down with them and just try to understand what happened by asking him stuff related to the incident, and then ensure steps and SOPs so that it doesn't happen again. And that's what brings me to the next point, which is open-ended questioning. Now, for the last 3.5 years, I've had the privilege and honor of doing at least over 400 hours of one-to-one coaching with clients, mid-career folks, surprisingly, managers, leaders. Of course, my job back then was to help them with their anxiety. And what I came to realize, what anxiety happens because of the internal communication that goes completely wrong. And then the initial superficial what if worst case scenario based questions that we are asking ourselves leads to far worse, and those questioning itself creates an impact deep inside the body. So my objective in the coaching sessions mainly was not to give gyan, not to give them solutions, rather take the solutions out from them. And to do so, you have to start asking open-ended questions. If the same problem happened the next time, what do you think you would do? What you feel you could have done so that this mistake never happened? Was there anything missing piece that you would like us to discuss upon that will ensure that we can take this problem as a learning curve? What would be your stance had you been in my place? What would you be doing? Now, mind you, every single time I'm asking these questions, look at my tonality. I don't have even the slightest bit of anger in the tonality. You have to understand, a company, a business always works when there are problems. If there are no problems, then there's no learnings. If there's no learnings, there's no experience. If there's no experience, there's no wisdom. So, for example, in Sunsden, we always believe, and because Yogeshwari and I have had certain set of corporate experience in Sunsden, we always believe mistakes are to be celebrated. In fact, we have a very weird culture, okay? Whenever we have some form of a mistake, we sit down, obviously, we solve it, and then we treat ourselves. We treat ourselves with a nice cup of tea or some nice boiled egg and banana, something like that. When you set a culture of celebrating mistakes, you will know that you already created such a safe space for your team members. And what's even important is, because you ask open-ended questions, you can also set the context. Let's see, in this entire discussion right now, there is no way that I want you to think that I'm your leader. No, we are in the same team, and we have faced a problem, and together we are going to work towards a solution. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions to just understand more about the problem. Is that okay? Now, if you observe the tonality, there is always the sense of curiosity. There's always this curiosity stems excitement, the excitement to work on the problem and solve it. Now, I've had a chance to lead quite a few teams in the past, and obviously we had a lot of hiring and firing also going on when I worked in the IT companies or the ed tech companies. But surprisingly, the team members that I've always had, they've been the most magical ones. As in, the mistake that happened, it was only a couple of times when they repeated the same mistake again. And in fact, whenever they had the doubt, they would walk up and they would ask. And that's how it works. The power of open-ended questions. There's another very interesting aspect of this as well. When we are growing up, think about it. Our parents gave us a lot of gyan. Our school teachers gave us a lot of gyan. Our college professors gave us a lot of gyan. Our peers and friends, if not anything, they just gave us a lot of gyan, including stuff like, come on, let's do it once. Come on, one puff is not going to do anything. One sip is not going to do anything. It's all a form of gyan. It's only those people who have asked us the right questions or implored upon us to ask the right questions ourselves, that's when the solutions have kicked in. Even now, for example, right now while I'm recording this live, I had two options. I don't know what to speak. What if I mess up? What if I break that 61-day streak? And then Yogeshwari went live. I got an idea. I started expanding upon that idea. And that happened because I asked myself, okay, what is it that what is it that my customer persona, ideal customer persona is facing? What problems are they facing that I can help them solve today? How can I create a piece of life that is going to always remain evergreen? Now, I am actually practicing these open-ended questions with curiosity, with that childlike enthusiasm, which automatically acts as the perfect download. Ask and ye shall receive. Just opening the brains up allowed the download, and here we are. Of course, a big gratitude to Yogeshwari. Every single time I ask her questions, she literally blesses me with the answers. So, shout out to Yogeshwari in the comment box. Okay, a very very important element of open-ended conversation takes us through the third step, which is the team problem-solving approach. Now, I'll tell you the majority cases what happens, and you have to look at me in the eye and say whether I'm right or not. As a leader, you have been in the company for a longer period of time compared to someone who's just starting out at an executive level. You have been representing the company at a far bigger hierarchy level than the support executive or executive level employee. You know far more about the process within the company than your subordinates or your team members. And this, knowingly or unknowingly, sets a certain kind of expectations throughout the leadership hierarchy in every company, that as a leader, you're expected to ensure that the job gets done. Unfortunately, the same thing gets passed upon the employees also, or the actual person who's doing the work. They are just expected to get the job done. If it's a sales role, they're expected to achieve the sales target. Support executive, they're expected to answer all the questions. If it's a tech ops, they're expected to find out all the solutions all by themselves. But that's not always possible, isn't it? In fact, when the challenges comes in, what exactly happens? The problem is immediately temporarily solved, and then there's a discussion on it in the meeting. Why did this happen? What can we work on? What can we gotten better? Now, I'm not sure whether you've experienced this as a leader when you were in the subordinate, but in the recent era, right now, with Gen Zs taking up the workforce and they're just coming in, and then later the Gen Alphas are right now in their school, so they're going to come to college and start working very very soon. You have to understand that they're already way too isolated. With social media and all, they're connected, but deep inside they're isolated. So when you talk to them and you corner them, and it's not about you cornering them, you're obviously doing it for the eventual good of the company and the work that needs to flow. But if they feel cornered, they will not even talk to you, they'll not even ask you, they will just leave. So this third approach, When you take the open-ended question, you take it a step forward and you create a team building activity in the form of problem solving. And the best way to do so is to sit down with that person and set the context. Listen, you and I are in the same team. Now, we faced some problems. If it's you who faced some problem, it's not you who faced the problem. It's us together as a team we face the problem. Can we team up together and solve the problem so that we can ensure that it never happens again? And which is even more, let's take this opportunity to learn. Shall we get started? Now, are you able to see the tonality and the enthusiasm and the excitement in my face when I just asked this, when I just did this? The moment you do so, they'll get an understanding. Okay, we're going to work on this together. Now, this has got created exclusively, firstly, because of all the teams that I have led. And secondly, ever since I got to know Yogeshwari. So our rule is very, very simple. We are not going to fight against each other whenever there's a problem. We're going to team up and fight against the problem. So that way we can bring in our own unique perspectives, and you'll be shocked and surprised how much you can learn if you just give your team member that space to talk more about the problem, because they are the one who is actually facing it. Now you are a leader, right? You are a leader in your company and you're leading your teams. The role that the team member is having is a role that you probably had 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, 20, 25 years ago. So you don't necessarily know the exact present problem that the team member is going to bring in. And that's where the ego needs to take a step down and the awareness and clarity muscles needs to take a step up. And once that happens, you will be blown away at the depth at which they will break down the problem. Now, the bigger the problem, the more subtle steps it needs to be broken down on. And as that happens, for you as a leader, you get back into asking open-ended questions and allow them only to give you the solutions. Now, with your experience, you can add your inputs as suggestions, again in the form of questions. I really love what you just mentioned. These 2 points on how we can initiate the conversation in every support call, and then how we straight away get into the problem to ensure that it is solved, the ticket is closed, and also the reports are being mentioned in the customer relationship management tool. Now, I'm just curious, what if we are also able to add a certain kind of a tag and an SOP along with it, where let's just say every support executive, once they're facing these challenges, it's not just there in the notes, but in an SOP, they are able to just share that problem with AI and ask AI to create an SOP so that future, whenever these problems happen, it's already there in the notes and in the reference files. So any support team is going to go through that entire SOP and they'll know exactly what to do. I mean, I'm just getting this idea. I just wanted to know your thoughts. Now, what are you doing here? You're taking your experience, your solutions, you're not giving it directly to them or stamping it on them. You are giving that as a suggestion and as a feedback and asking them a question to see whether they're accepting or not. And you'll be blown away most of the times. Again, I've tried this quite a few times with my teams that I've worked with so far. They literally take your idea and they take it, they step it up a couple of notches higher and they come up with even bigger and better stuff. And that is how you solve problems as a team, and also the way that you communicate. Now, this activity that I just spoke about is always going to help you build a better relationship with your team. But that, I feel, is again not enough. With all the stuff that's flying around across social media, and especially platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter, Quora, Reddit, where people are bashing left, right, and center. The Gen Zs are blasting the seniors are blasting the Gen Zs, whatever's going on, in the whole uh, the actual on-job scenario with respect to the leadership. The fourth point that brings in is the word called purpose. There are a couple of universal truths, and these universal truths might sound a little controversial, but let's face it, it's the truth. Why do we want to go for a job? So that we can earn money. Why do we need money? To pay our bills and to obviously enjoy our life or whatever. That's the truth. Now, this is from the employee's perspective, team member's perspective who just joined the job. Why is it important? Why do we go for work as a leader? We want to grow in the corporate ladder. We want to get that promotion. We want to give a better experience to our family. Again, there are that could be a lot of reasons. I just took a few of them. Now, from the company's perspective, why are they hiring junior team members and leaders? So that they can serve their customers better. So that as a leader, like the founder or the CEO level leader, they don't have to do those manual support things all by themselves. They can focus on the high critical thinking stuff, and they'll have specific team members to take care of specific problems within the company, so that the company workflow, process flow happens smoothly. Now, I have been very, very brutal in telling you the truths of all these three layers, from the company to the junior most executive level employee working there. The question is, are these truths being spoken clearly and each other knowing about all their goals and stuff? Now, I've been doing a little bit of a research on quite a few companies. Like I mentioned, one of one of the people I've worked with, one of the greatest coaches in the country that I've worked with, his company, the team members are staying for more than 3.5, 4 years, and they're growing as well. And that happened because he's crystal clear about who they are, what are the things that they like, dislike, what is the kind of life that they want to have, and how the company and the work is going to help them build the same. Now, not every company is going to be working that way, because companies are always more of mission centric and team centric and task centric and growth centric. There are very few companies who are employee centric, as in team centric. And these are the ones that continues to grow. So if you as a leader are able to put in your little bit of an additional effort from your end to get to know your team better, what is the life that they'd like to have? Sitting with them maybe for a once in a month one-to-one call, just a no agenda call, just to understand how was the month, what is the target for the next month, what are their goals, how are they planning to achieve the same, and then again use the previous three frameworks that I guided you through to help them understand and connect their actual work with the purpose that they have. So I'll give you an example. Let's just say I'm in an edtech company and I'm leading the sales team. So I will have my sales executives working with me. So I'll sit down with them and I will ask them again one to one, what are your goals? Just casually, just want to know, what are your hobbies outside work? They're like, I love traveling, I love going out, I love hanging out with my friends. Crazy. Why is that important for you? Like, obviously, I'm someone, and I share a little bit of my perspective also in that. Like, personally, I'm not a very big fan of traveling. I feel it's a waste of money, time, and energy. Uh, I mean, if you have to go and climb that entire mountain up only to come down, why? Why bother? And then she'll give me a very interesting perspective. And that's when I'm open to listen and create that space to be able to again ensure that she's giving me the stuff. She's telling, see, it's not just about moving to a new place. It's breathing that city's air, talking to the people, getting to experience the culture, the food, the tradition of that place. These are stuff that you will not find in the books. These are stuff you will not find in AI. These are stuff that you'll never really get to know unless you step out from your house. Now that's a learning for me. I've understood that this is the kind of life that she'd like to have. I'll again ask, okay, so uh, if given an ideal scenario, how would your life look like in terms of the travel thing? And then she would say, no, I mean, my life is really amazing. I have a remote work, so I can literally travel and ensure that uh, while traveling, I'm doing the work. So that way I can travel and I can also parallelly do the work. Fantastic. Now what's stopping you? No, I have to earn the money and ensure that I save up for the travels and everything. So, okay, okay. And how much money are we talking about? So let's just say she says around 50,000 per month or whatever. Okay. So what if we discuss right now how this role that you are in, this particular job role, again, she's in sales, mind you, can help you earn that money? What do you think you should do? And then she only told me that she just needs to optimize her calls a little better, increase her conversions a little better, work on her call audits, like listen to her own call audits a little better, get her doubts clarified with me whenever there are any difficult clients to deal with, have me onboarded so that I can connect with them and she can learn the process and then do it by herself. Well, within 3 months, she was able to achieve those numbers. And now that she has achieved those numbers, guess what? Three things happened. First, we understood the problem, we solved it, and we created a path. Second, gave her all the support, insights, not by giving her the gyan, but asking her more open-ended questions. She felt that I'm someone whom she can trust. And automatically, because I'm helping her grow in terms of the financial output, again, in sales, that's one of the craziest things that you can do. Because in sales, there's always a base salary, commission, and incentives, and she's getting that result. And three, the most important one, I know that as a leader, I have created a future leader. Because if today this is her experience, don't you think when she will lead teams, she will also follow the exact same thing? And that's how the biggest leaders in this world, you look at the Simon Sinek's and the Brendan Burchards, the Matt Gray and all these people, they have been able to create such world-class infrastructure when it comes to leadership. Again, the team building approach and purpose driven work. Yeah, that's what we were talking about more. The more you dive deep into the why, and if you've observed Simon Sinek's golden circle, that's what he says. Everything starts with the why, then the how, and then finally the bigger thing is the what. The final framework, the final communication framework for today is the concept called help together. And this is, I feel, one of the biggest missing pieces in every company. And this is the single biggest thing that defines whether the company is going to be a success in the long run or not. If a company has been going through stagnancy for a certain period of time or going through ups and downs, left, right, and center, there's no proper stability. This is the exact reason, and we're going to break that entire thing down as I promised at the start of the video. Help together. First, let's understand the context of how a company works. And you as a leader, I'm sure you'll be knowing it end to end. However, make sure to drop your bigger insights in the comments as well. A company includes a set of leaders, set of founders, and then the people who do the actual work. So there are some creative works that are involved, which is the processes, the systems, the products, the services, framing the entire thing, creating the stuff. That's creation zone. And then there's the execution zone, the people who make it work. So if it's a lifestyle business, there's the person who's recording videos, then the video goes to the video editor and they're editing the videos. There's someone called as the virtual assistant. They're probably interacting on behalf of the person who's doing the lifestyle business. If it's a cloud-based IT company, then there are support executives who are answering questions. So there are different layers of hierarchy in the company. And the whole possibility of the existence of the company depends upon the value exchange with the customers. So it's the leaders, it's the executors, and then there is the customers. It's not just that, the leaders will also have their own subordinate teams that holds the entire company together. I'm talking about the law team, the legal team, the accounts team, the the non-working staff as well. It could be, if it's an office, the person who is coming to maybe clean the entire office and all those things. Keeping all these things in mind, you have to understand that problems are inevitable, firstly. And if problems are going to come, why not create a proper system where there'll never be an SOS? Rather, there will always be an EOS, emotional operating system, to work towards the problem. Now, why do I say emotions? Because emotions do get involved. Whenever something goes wrong, the leaders get angry, the support executive get into fight, flight, and fright. The customer is angry, so suddenly everyone gets a little freaked out and frustrated. Emotions does take a hit, but when there is a proper operating system to get that help, ask for that help, it makes it easy. So here's what some of the principles that I installed in the companies that I work for. And as a leader, it always helps. The first thing is to ask for help. As a leader, it's absolutely okay to ask for help to your team as well as to your seniors. Now, you've been asking help from all your seniors, I know this. But what I have realized so far is when you ask help to your own team members who are actually facing the problem, you do two very important things. First, you put a guard down on your ego. And that's a very, very important thing to do as a human, as a leader, as you are growing. It keeps you grounded. And the second most important thing, you offer your trust and faith to your fellow team member. They get a feeling that they have earned your trust, that you trust them enough, that you want to ask for help. In the future, they are also going to reciprocate the same. Now, once help is asked, second is to set the context. There are some very, very difficult conversations that we know that needs to happen. Let's just say you want to ask for a promotion. Let's just say you want to maybe fire a team member and you're talking to your senior or you're talking to them directly. How do you set the context is by telling them the truth in a way that is not direct. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So there's this team member, there's this colleague of mine who wanted to step down from his leadership role to an executive role. So uh, he walked up to me and he said, Sudeep, there's something I want to talk to you about. Yeah, please tell me. No, before I want to talk to you about, I think I'm a little scared. I'm a little hesitant. It's something that I've been thinking of talking for quite a while, but I'm not so sure. Now, he's told me the truth, and I'm able to feel that. He's a little scared. So I tell him that, listen, first of all, whatever it is, you don't have to worry about anything. I want you to know that this is a safe space, and whatever, let's put it in this manner that whatever we are going to discuss right now, I'm going to keep my this whole company and work and position and all those things behind, and we are just going to talk like two human beings, man to man. Works? He gave me the initial signal. I set the context, and he talks about, no, Surideep, I think the leadership thing is a little too much for me. Okay, what do you mean by that? See, there's a lot of actual work that needs to be done, but then there's a lot of leadership tasks that needs to be done, a lot of technicalities and stuff, and finding it difficult to do it. Got it. So what are the exact challenges that you're facing? Can you just help me break that down so that I'll make a note of it? And he starts giving me the challenges and I start writing down all the challenges. Okay. So did you try getting help or something? Yes, yes. I asked AI, I asked the seniors and every single thing, but the problem is I'm not sure whether everyone is equipped enough to help me. Rather, they want me only to figure out because they're thinking I'm in a leadership position, so I should have it figured out. Okay, got it, got it. And what would you ideally want to do? See, ideally, I'd love to just do my calls, and I mean, I love talking to people. And all. Okay, okay, great. So, what if we do it in this manner? What if we team up together and we start working on each of these problems and creating a system around it? That way, there's a possibility that we both can learn these stuff together and we can create something crazy. Parallelly, and you can give, let's just say 20%, 30% of your time on each of these systems and processes one step at a time. Again, there's no pressure on you. Parallelly, slowly, slowly, you can increase your work time. That way, I don't want you to take a salary cut. I don't want you to earn less money, although I know in the incentives you'll earn a lot more, but I don't want that to happen for you. I want you to use this as a launch pad to learn something new. Just want to know. I mean, this is just me sharing my suggestion. Okay, what do you feel when I'm sharing this with you? Now, mind you, these are the exact words that I told him. And even at that point, right now, when I'm telling you, it's literally narrating and quoting, unquoting whatever I said, I am already getting the feeling that there was a part of me that was giving some gyan, okay? But then look at the way I turned the clock and I said, see, these are only my suggestions. I just want to know your thoughts on it, your perspective on it. Now, this little concept that I just mentioned, I learned this from my elder brother, my dear friend. His name is Bharat Mishra. He leads the analytics, the head of analytics, business analytics in some of the major companies in the planet. I just had a call with him yesterday, and this is exactly the step that he did with. And that's when, right now, I'm getting the bulb on how is he the head of business analytics of some of the greatest companies in the world at 33 years of age. Now, I have done this in the past, and this is exactly how I'd frame it. And then the answer that came out was very interesting. He said, no, I was actually thinking of taking a step down. But this conversation has actually turned the clock around to look at the problem as a problem rather than myself that I'm incapable of solving it. I'm sure we are all having the skills and the tools to be able to figure it out. Suryadeep, can we schedule a call next week? Let me work on all these problems. Anyways, the calls my teams are taking care of. I will work on all these problems one step at a time. Next week, do you have some time? Can we just sit down and hop in on a call? Oh, 100%. In fact, let's lock it the time right now. Is Thursday 12 p.m. a good time? Next Thursday? Okay, fine. I'll send the meeting and everything, and that's it. Now, while he's working on the problem, I'm also going to parallelly do my own research, and then we get together. It becomes easy. And that is possible because of that initial context setting from both the sides. So, for you as a leader, as you set the context, you can also train your team members on how they can also set the context with you. Everything involves communication, training, coaching, talking to each other, suggestions, feedback, advice, steps, action steps. Every single thing involves communication right at the forefront. What happens in the corporate, that's horrible, which is meetings of 1 hour, 1.5 hours, where everybody is just coming and barking their own stuff. And there's nothing that you can gain out of it. And yet, the single and the most fundamental rule of communication in leadership in particular is when every communication is a learning curve. And as a leader, it's our responsibility to ensure that it is being understood, implemented, acted upon, and grown. That also means taking feedback. So when my bosses would ask me that Surya, do you have any feedback? I would only give feedback when it is being implemented. So I would be like, see, sir, with all due respect, I'm very stringent when it comes to feedback because most of the times I don't want the feedback to be taken as an allegation. So I'm absolutely okay to share feedback. However, is it can is it okay if the feedback can be taken, understood, implemented? Only then it makes sense to ask me for feedback. Otherwise, it's just a formality. Both you and I know it. Now, these are very, very like laser sharp words. And personally, for me, I don't hide anything at all. If that costs me my job, I don't care, honestly. I always want to be truthful. So when someone asks me for feedback, I just give it exactly as it is. I also give the steps. But then when I see that the steps are not being implemented, I stop giving feedback to the bosses. And that's a very, very important decision that I have taken. But the best part is because of all these experiences, now when we are building Sunsden, I know for sure that if someone starts working with us, then they are going to experience something absolutely world class in terms of the whole overall experience of working in order to grow, in order to become a better version of yourself. I mean, work life, think about it. In school, we used to spend, I mean, I used to go to school at 7:30 in the morning, come back by 2 o'clock. I went to college at 9 o'clock in the morning and used to come by 3 o'clock, 3:30. In the office, though, the work starts at 10 o'clock and ends at 6:37. The majority of your life goes into working. So why not make that a good experience for yourself as a leader and for the people you're working with? In the comments, do let me know which of these 5 frameworks was the biggest bulb on for you and which are the frameworks that you're going to start implementing from today itself. You need not implement all of them, and it's going to take some time. Come back to this video, come back to the examples, go through the way I have discussed those examples and the scenarios with you. Start observing how you can start working on them, and you'll be blown away just by you listening to me, right? Throughout this entire video, you would have gotten the entire things installed deep inside of you. I wish you the best. And I know that the world needs more leaders like you. Let's make this world a far better place by working on these frameworks one step at a time, one day at a time, with one team member at a time. With that, this is Dr. Srideep. I'll see you again tomorrow, sharp at 8:30 live. If you're new here, just hit that like, subscribe, comment, share this video with someone if you feel that they need it. Let's see you tomorrow.